Hey, Brad from Cougar Ridge Ranch, high in the Uinta Mountains of Utah, eastern Utah, 7,000 feet up. Today I'm going to show you what we do with our chicken eggshells. We have a lot of chickens, we get a lot of eggs, and we like to recycle anything and everything that we can, so we recycle these into a real beneficial soil amendment for the garden. So let's go show you what we do. Okay, to start out, I'll show you how we save eggshells. That's always a question to people. How do we save eggshells? They're kind of nasty, kind of dirty. When you pop them, a lot of people throw them away. We don't. We take an old egg or an old milk carton, and we'll cut the top off, and then we'll use that milk carton to put our empty eggshells in. And then when they dry, a milk carton works perfect for this. You just take a quart bottle and you just smash it down in there. And what you're end up with, I gotta put it on the counter here so I can do some extra man muscle stuff. So what you're left with is just pieces. We take these pieces and we save them in a 5-gallon bucket all year long, and then come springtime we grind them up and into powder, and then we till them into the garden with a little bit of sulphur and a little bit of soft rock phosphorus, and that gives us long time release calcium for the plants. We never have tomatoes with blossom end rot. We never have peppers with blossom end rot. Everything just grows phenomenally. So let's go grind. Okay, so we take the crushed eggshells, and let's see if I can make this thing work here. We just keep them in a 5-gallon bucket to the end of the. We start about now, and we'll use these up, and we'll start saving again for next year. So this for us represents a year of eggshells, a 5-gallon bucket. Then I use this wheat grinder. I use it for grinding hot peppers, our habanero peppers, and our jalapeno peppers, and our Anaheim peppers. I make dry them in the food dryer, and then grind them up with this into powder, and then we use the powder as a seasoning. So what I do now is I'll take these eggshells, a couple of scoops in here. You see, I'm just about full. And when you crack your eggs and you put your eggshells in these, we leave these out for maybe 4 or 5 days. We put them by a window, we put them by the wood stove, we put them by a heater vent, we put them by something that has some airflow. We'll put a fan across them sometimes so that they dry out. They don't crush very well when they're wet, so you want them to be really dry, and then they'll just crush up like this, no problem. So I'm going to put this in here and tighten it up. Then I'm going to turn this screaming Mimi on. Shake it around a little bit. And then if you'll notice, I'm out on the porch so I don't get in trouble, because when you open this up, it's a little bit smoky, a little bit dusty. But you can see that turned this into a very, very fine powder. Then I just dump that in another bucket, and I continue until the 5-gallon bucket of crushed eggshells is done, Oops, I just spilled on the floor. I'm going to have to clean that up before I get in trouble. And we'll just do this again and again and again. You can see that it just takes no time at all to be powder. Now, if you don't have a grinder like this, you could just put this straight on your garden, just like that. You can put that straight on your garden, and it won't matter. It will break down and feed the plants. It's not real fast that way. We noticed that it takes a couple of years for it to break down and disappear. When we use the powder, we don't see it anymore, and the plants really respond to it. So the grinder is a very, very good addition, but if you don't have one, you can smash them as hard as you want and get them down to small size. But the grinder makes this very, very, very fine powder, and it breaks down in the soil very, very fast. And it wasn't very expensive either. I think it was $45 on Amazon or eBay or one of those places. Okay, calcium is an alkali that's found all over the earth. Dark green plants and grasses are very high in calcium. Chicken eggshells are almost 100% calcium. Fact in point is that calcium is the 5th most abundant element on the chart by mass, and while it's so abundant, our garden plants seem to suffer calcium deficiencies, especially tomatoes and peppers. Calcium is actually the most important nutrient to our gardens and ecosystem overall. At its optimum concentration and availability, according to the experts, it is the most important nutrient for both soil health and plant health available. If you want, you can use expensive calcium nitrate from the garden store, or you can do the centuries-old way, which has always been almost free. Now, if you're watching this and you have tomato blossom end rot, this is not going to be a quick fix. You'll actually need to buy a bag of calcium nitrate and put it around the roots of your tomato plants right now. It has a real fast absorption, and you're going to notice results in a few days, maybe even a week. However, if you're watching this and getting your garden ready, this is going to give you some long-term slow-release calcium, which is much better overall. We recycle our chicken eggshells, grind them in a grinder to powder, rototill them into the garden with a small amount of sulphur and rock phosphate. I put about just a sprinkle on the top of the garden so that everything is white. I have to do it on a non-windy day, and then till that in. So the sulphur gets wet, and when it gets wet, it turns into sulfuric acid, just a little tiny bit. And that acidifies the soil, which the plants just love, and the acid breaks down the eggshells into a soluble form that the plants can absorb. The calcium has a tendency to neutralize acidity in the soil, so I like adding a little sulfur to offset that. The rock phosphate is a bonus, and it'll make eggshells more available to the plant with faster absorption. You don't have to add it if you don't have it. We do this every spring for our entire garden area, everywhere. And that way we're assured that we always have slow-release calcium available to all of our plants. So all plants benefit from calcium, but the following plants are especially responsive to a lack of calcium or an abundance of calcium. They are apples, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, carrots, cauliflower, celery, cherries, citrus, conifers, cotton, cucurbits, melons, grapes, legumes, lettuce, peaches, peanuts, pears, peppers, potatoes, tobacco, and of course, tomatoes. I'll post all of this in the description below. So there it is. You can see that let me get this thing to point down just a little bit. You can see that a full 5-gallon bucket of crushed eggshells, it looks like there's no airspace in there, grinds down to a half a 5-gallon bucket of just powder. Now we'll go throw this on the garden, till it in, and feed the plants. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope it helps your garden, helps your plants. That's it for now. Don't forget, subscribe and follow us on Facebook too, Cougar Ridge Ranch. All right, so long.